In this video, we're going to discuss bar graphs. Bar graphs are just a graphical representation of frequency distributions for categorical data or qualitative data, rectangles of equal width, and they can be frequency bar graphs or relative frequency bar graphs. In other words, we can use either the frequency or the relative frequency depending upon what we're being asked for or what we are looking at. Honestly, the heights of the bars should be the exact same whether you're using frequency or relative frequency. It's mainly just how you're going to label this y-axis, this left side axis over here. So if I'm looking at just a regular bar graph, I'm just going to give us some bars here for different heights. I'm trying to make them about the same. They don't have to be evenly spaced like they are now. I can go and put a gap in between them, just as long as the gap is about consistent. And for categorical data, it doesn't matter. I tend to try to put gaps between them because I am looking at several separate categories. So we've drawn a bar graph here. One thing that I want to make sure that you do is anytime you're drawing any type of graph, make sure you label it. You're going to label down here what category it is. So right now I'm just going to put category 1, category 2, category 3, category 4. These could be eye color, so it could be brown, black, blue, hazel, that type of thing. It could be type of car, SUV, truck, sedan, sports car, that type of thing. Just make sure that you're labeling what the bar is talking about. Then also make sure you put a title down here as far as what these categories represent. Do they represent eye color? If so, I'd put eye color here. Do they represent type of car? If so, that's what I'm going to put here. Always make sure you have a title and you've labeled your different bars. On the left-hand side, we're either going to put frequency or relative frequency, depending upon what we are looking at. Frequency, and we need our hash marks to talk about the heights of the different bars. Okay, they should be approximately the same space, if possible. I know a lot of times we don't have rulers or graph paper or something like that, so just make them approximately the same. And also, if I'm talking about frequency, so let me erase this relative frequency for right now. If we're talking about frequency, I may have 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth. Notice I don't start at 0 because 0 is at this corner, and I'm going to go up in the same increments. I'm not going to say 1, 5, 8, 10, that type of thing. I have to go up incrementally the same, okay? You can count by 5s, you can count by 2s, you can count by 1s, you can count by hundreds, thousands, whatever you need to, as long as you're consistent as far as each line represents the same amount. The same thing with relative frequency is, if I'm going to do relative frequency, I'm going to label this relative frequency. And then I'm going to go 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. I'm still increasing the same from bar to bar, hash mark to hash mark. Again, I can go 0.2 to 0.4 to 0.6. That's fine. Or if I need to go smaller increments, I can go 0.05 or 0.01 and then increase the same amount there. So this is a bar graph. A special type of bar graph is called the Pareto. A Pareto, again, represents either frequency or relative frequency. The thing about a Pareto is that we put it in order. Largest frequency on the left and smallest on the right. It goes in order from highest to lowest, or highest to smallest. when we're talking about the bars. And so when I go to look at a Pareto and I'm going to draw this, I always put my largest one first, then, that didn't work. Let's go back and put my okay, I'm not sure why my thing keeps moving. Let's try it where let's draw in green this time. So I'm going to draw a bar graph here. Whoops, forgot to grab my bars. Here. Here. And here. Notice it steps down as far as which one is on the top. On the left-hand side, it doesn't go necessarily in alphabetical order or the order that it shows up in. It goes in order from the highest to the lowest. Okay? And again, we still want to label category 1, category 2, category 3, category 4. We still want to have a title. And we still want to label over here whether it's frequency, relative frequency, and we want to have our hash marks. And we want to know what those are each hash mark is representing. Okay? So a bar graph can be in any order, such as this one up here, but a Pareto has to be in order from the highest to the lowest, the largest to the smallest. Okay? Always start with your largest on the left. So try some of these and then let me know if you have any questions.